Welcome to another installment of Facebook Live. Wow, I'm starting off bad today. Facebook Live, a morning or sit down with the athletic director. My name is Jeff Tingey. I'm the athletic director here at Idaho State University. Grateful for the opportunity to speak. We've started doing this once a month. It's a good opportunity for us to disseminate some information, to answer some questions that may come up from some of our fans, some of our boosters, and to talk about things that just don't get talked about as much, or that we don't go into as much detail as we could. So coming off homecoming weekend, I'll start with that as a good introduction. It sure was nice to see so many people come back to campus. There were a lot. I mean, we had a large alumnus group of football that came back on Friday afternoon. They played a flag football game. It was fun to watch those guys, from a lot of different eras of football to reminisce and rib each other and to play and to have a lot of fun. It was good to see those guys. Later that evening, we had an alumni game from our basketball teams, and that was fun. It's nice to see some of those guys. To see them on Saturday holding babies and holding hands with wives and at different stages of their life, that was fun to see. And then there are some that were here well before me. I've been here 9 years, 10 years now. I get mixed up, and some of the guys that came back were from before that era. So really fun to see that, to see them come back and be a part of things. There was a alumni group from baseball that came back. I didn't get to interact with them on many things, but I saw some photos, some notes. It was good to see these different groups come back, and it's nice that people want to come back, that they want to reminisce, that they want to see the campus, that they want to take part in their university. We say once a Bengal, always a Bengal. So nice for those groups to come back, to be a part of it. It's always great when football wins on homecoming, and that was an exciting game. Even though we may have fallen asleep in the second and fourth quarters, we'll say that the team didn't fall asleep. They were just trying to keep the fans engaged. So it was a good game and good performance by our teams.
As you talked about the alumni, just can you talk a little bit about how important it is to have that core support in anything we do as an athletic department from
that is important, and from whatever realm it is, whether it's recruiting, whether it's fundraising, whether it's generating positive vibes, whatever it may be, having that core and having those people who support us is something that we can't measure. It's that important. We recruit all over the nation, and these graduates go and they fill jobs everywhere they go, and they help us. They'll from time to time send notes and say, hey, take a look at this person. I got one just yesterday. Take a look at this volleyball player of an alumnus of ours. And you know what? That's great, because our coaches can't be everywhere at once. They can't be all of those places. They can't talk to every single coach and every high school or club coach. And it takes that. It's nice to have engaged alumni who want to be a part of it. And beyond that, when we go on the road and we play at certain places, and we have a large list of people who want to go. When we played at the University of Colorado, I had 200 people calling and asking about tickets. Nice that we have that interest. We didn't have that many tickets to give away, but it's nice that we have that many alumni and alumnus in those different areas that want to be a part, want to come cheer on their Bengals, want to wear their orange and make noise. So that's important to us, and then all of those things eventually lead to fundraising, and we're always trying to supplement our budgets. We're always trying to add to our facilities. We're always trying to improve in any way that we can, and having those people who are engaged and who are interested always leads to more funding.
You talked a little bit about fundraising and funding. A lot's asked about money games, and will we ever only play one? Or talk a little bit about the reasoning behind having to play two.
Yeah, I'll say those are necessary evil, if we can use that phrase. we have a mandate at the moment in athletics from the higher-ups of the university to play 2 of those money games per year. And it's not ideal, and we're not thrilled with playing those games. But those games do have a good purpose, and they do help our teams prepare for more. But those games, we're playing them because of the revenue. That revenue, which we've, in the Colorado and Oregon State games, we've generated just under $1 million, and those go to the coffers for all of the budgets to use for our teams in athletics, and those are really important to us. Ideally, we'd like to move away from those, and that's something that President Bayless and I are working on. We have right now in the state of Idaho some caps that go on our athletic funding, and those caps are based on total enrollment with the university, and the university's enrollment has gone down in recent years, and so our state and institutional support has followed. And that's been very difficult for us. Everything costs more. Scholarships cost more, travel costs more, everything across the board. And so we're always working on that. Our state and institutional support of the 14 football members of the Big Sky Conference is at the bottom. It's of the 14 schools in the conference, we're at number 11. And Montana and Montana State are below us in that. Both of those schools generate close to $1 million of revenue in every home football game, and then North Dakota is right below us in that group as well, and they have a lot of different revenues to help offset those. And so, for us, besides those 3 schools, we're at the bottom of the Big Sky Conference. That's difficult for us to overcome because our funding is much lower than the rest of them, and Dr. Bayless and I have worked many different ways to raise more money for the institution and to change those caps, but nothing has changed at this point, and we'll continue working on that. But that's a difficult thing for us because it puts us behind the 8 ball. It puts us at an unfair advantage to our counterparts in the rest of the conference because of the funding levels that we're not receiving as compared to those that we compete against.
You just came back from the Big Sky meeting Sunday, Monday in Utah. Talk about anything noteworthy that came from that?
Finalizing certain things, there's always legislation that we're working on, whether it's with officials or championship locations. We discussed the idea of having neutral site championships for all of our sports. The basketball tournament in Reno this last year for men's basketball, which allowed everyone to be a part, we felt was a success. It was the first year of a 3-year contract, and though our attendance wasn't where we wanted it to be, it was year 1, and we understand that. Now, moving forward with those who did attend, we would expect more people to attend in the next year. And that is helping us with our thoughts towards softball, volleyball, soccer, tennis, golf, track and field, all of those things. All of those sports, we're contemplating that idea now of creating a neutral site championship. There are some barriers that come up, some hurdles that we have to cover. For instance, this last year when soccer hosted the University of Idaho hosted the soccer championship, on that same weekend that they were hosting the championship, I want to say both the University of Idaho football was home and Washington State football was home. And so only one of the teams coming to the Big Sky Conference could stay in the Pullman, Moscow area, and the others had to stay in either Lewiston or Spokane. And so what happens is one team's right in town, one team drives 45 minutes, the other team drives an hour and a half for that championship experience. And it's of no fault of anyone. It was just the way that the pieces fell, but it left a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of different institutions, and so it's something that we're looking at. We finalized some of our schedules for football when the University of Idaho officially joins us in 2018. They move on to our schedule right away. We'll play them at home in 18 and play them on the road in 2019, and that's an important thing. In 2020, as a conference and scheduling, we'll move to a 9-game conference schedule for football. And so that changes a lot of different things. And we will have the first rough draft of those schedules probably in the next 2 weeks so that we can start working on some of those things. But what that will affect us to some degree with having played normally too many games. That would mean playing too many games and then going straight into the conference season. We'd really like to change that, to just play one, and then to play whether it's a Division II school or another FCS division school, which would be great. We'd love to create some matchups with some of the other conferences that are near us, the Southland Conference, the Missouri Valley, the Ohio Valley. Some of those would be great matchups for us, and we'd love to start doing those.
Facility updates. I think softball is just about ready to be done.
Yeah, softball's at, last I saw, 85% done. We're just working on the insides now. Everything on the outside is done. I think they were going to pave the parking lot this week after having torn everything out. Really excited about that. Now we can get those interior design people to work their magic and make it look like a Bengal facility, which is, a great opportunity for us to do, as we haven't done something like this since the last locker room that we finished. So moving along there, we've met with some designers and some engineers on our Davis Field project. That has gone out to bid at the moment. The state of Idaho is doing that bid process, and they will choose I guess it's a contractor or engineer that will do all of the work. They'll take the scope of the work and bid out all of those other processes, and that should be done by within the next 3 weeks. I think that'll be closed. It's been open for a week so far, and open for a month, and then we will choose that contractor that will take the project from there. And we're really excited about that. In the last couple of weeks, we've met with a couple different track surfacing companies to find out what it is the best and what will help us to have the longest lasting track with best product and surface. So we're still working on some of those things, and that will help us as the state determines who the contractor will be that will be in charge of that project.
Any parting thoughts you have for Bengal fans before we wrap up?
You know what? We're just in the thick of it, so we keep going. I think soccer's at home this weekend, volleyball's on the road, football's on the road, cross country's got a weekend off. Come and cheer on soccer, get online and watch volleyball and football. Cheer on your Bengals, post to the social media things. It's nice to see those things. And yet, on Friday and Saturday leading up to homecoming, it was so nice to go various places in my Bengal attire and to see other people proudly wearing that thing, so their Bengal attire. So that item is something that I project to everyone. Wear your Bengal apparel, not just on Wednesdays. Yes, today is Bengal Wednesday, and we're wearing our orange and black, but wear it on Thursdays and Tuesdays and Mondays and Saturdays, and shoot, even on Sundays. So wear it wherever you go.